Welcome to the fourth and final session of this week's Podcast Guesting Masterclass. I'm Jessica Rhodes, the founder and co-owner of Interview Connections. We are the first ever podcast booking agency. We've been around for 12 years, and we've booked over 30,000 podcast interviews for more than 800 clients. And we have personally leveraged podcast guesting to grow our business to seven figures. We did not start running any paid ads until after we were at seven figures in annual revenue. So what we are teaching you this week is from our own personal experience, leveraging this strategy to grow our business organically by speaking to the right audiences, and also from helping hundreds of clients do the same thing in their business. So give me a yes if by session four that you are so excited, you see what's possible when you speak to the right target audience, when you share your story, and when you market your business with a strategy that feels in alignment. You know, there's so many strategies and marketing tactics that just don't feel right. And our goal is to show you how speaking and sharing your story and being in conversation on podcasts is a way that you can be growing your business organically, reaching new audiences, and building your business. So yes, I know, I love it. Everyone's super excited. Yes, so replays are available until Monday, June 16th at midnight. So we teach this masterclass live. So we are in this special little time warp where you are here live and you have access to the masterclass replays until Monday at midnight. So you can watch them at interviewconnections.com/replays. So book a call. If you have not booked your consultation call yet, you are missing out on a great conversation and getting your questions answered. So go to interviewconnections.com/call so you can get a time on our calendar. We have some really special discounts and bonuses available for those who get started with us during the masterclass, which ends on Monday. We are going to dive right in. We have some amazing speakers, and in the interest of time, and some of them have to leave early, I want to get them up on stage for you now. So the first speaker I've brought to you is a total badass, might I say. Her name is Monica Dougal, and she came to us. Actually, I think she heard about Interview Connections from the very masterclass that you're attending. And she saw the ad, she registered, she booked her call, and she signed up weeks before the sessions even started. She was like, let's go. And she's already been booked on, I think, close to 30 podcasts. So she's an action taker, and she really just embodies this value, I think, of implementation and taking action and getting out there. So Monica, I would love for you, let's get Monica Dougal off of mute. Introduce yourself, tell everyone who you are, what you do, and gosh, what has the last month been like for you on podcasts?
Wow. Well, thank you so much for having me here and as speaking to everyone. I have had the best time. The team is absolutely amazing. Jessica, you're amazing, and I can't even imagine that I get to speak about um, finance like for a whole hour with all the people that I've been being on podcast with. It's absolutely amazing. What else? It's just you're so organized. Your organization is so organized. It's pretty seamless. My experience with it. So I have just had the best luck, and I literally think that I just want to continue. And I just can't imagine people not using your platform. Really, it's just so seamless. I'll tell you, I'm not the best scheduler or organizer, so that I'm doing these 30 podcasts in 2 months has been thanks to you and your organization.
Thank you so much, Monica. Yeah, Monica really came in and because normally, we have a month of onboarding, and she's like, yes, but can you do it now? Like, can you get me on 30 podcasts now? And she really stretched us, which I'm so grateful for. And it's been so amazing. And I would love for you, Monica. This isn't like about podcast guesting, but you are such a powerful decision maker. Like you came to this, you had Julio met with you on a call. We explained everything, and you decided. Can you speak to folks in this masterclass that maybe are feeling a little indecision, like they're really drawn to it, but they're on the fence? Because you don't stay on the fence very long. That's my impression
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah, no, I started this I'm, an entrepreneur and I've just been on this 2023, 2024. So this 2025 has gotten me really out of my comfort zone. And so this is why, for example, I requested to do this. And I would say I don't know, what was the question? I'm just
Like
thinking of,
how your advice, your wisdom to people who are not like are experiencing indecision. They're on the fence. They really want to do it, but there's reasons they're not doing it because you just decide and you go. That's been my impression of
yeah.
you.
Okay. All right. So going back to that, like that's the beauty of what I'm doing. It's put me in so many situations and people, I just want to say, making the decision, they're life changing. They're really, truly life changing. All the people that I've been talking to on podcast, absolutely amazing. I listened to their podcast before, and like I've actually reached out to two or three people from these podcasts for help with my business. That's how amazing these interactions are. They're like literally like with your like not only are they going to help your company because you're talking to people experts in what you're doing, but also just having access to so many other amazing people that you probably will not have access to because these are just legit movers and shakers. Just because they're not on all these platforms, they're real and they're making things happen and they're action takers. So if you're on the fence, I mean, this is your seriously, like for me personally, I'm super happy that I pushed myself for 2025 because it's pretty amazing. And I just think that your traction, whatever your business is, you definitely will increase that easily, easily.
I love that. I love that. Well, Monica has a podcast in a few minutes, so we've got to let her go. But Monica, where can everyone find you online if they want to connect with you and listen to all these podcasts you're recording?
Yeah, sure. So I'm at www dot and then my name, Monica, and then Garcia, GarciaDuggal.com. And then and my LinkedIn's on there and yeah.
Perfect. Well, enjoy your podcast. Thank you for
Thank you so
coming
much.
and
Thank you for
speaking.
inviting me. I really appreciate it.
We'll talk to you later, Monica. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So, how about that? We dove right in with the first speaker. And, Monica is an action taker. And I know that's not like about podcast guesting, but you're here in this masterclass, really learning about how to build your brand, learning the tactics of podcast guesting. But it really doesn't work unless you take action, unless you move forward and you get on the court and you start playing the game. I love a sports metaphor. I'm not an athlete, but I love a sports metaphor. And I really think she really embodies that. And again, she saw a lot of you found us through our ad. Maybe you saw our Instagram ad and you registered for the masterclass. Monica saw that same ad in the same time that you did. And she's already been on close to 30 podcasts because she decided, she took action, and she's just experiencing so much growth. So if you're inspired by that and you're like, I need a little bit more decisiveness, all you have to do right now is decide to book your call, interviewconnections.com/call, and you'll speak with myself or Douglas or Julio. We're kind of the dynamic trio here that's leading our consultation calls, and we'll go over the whole program with you. We have multiple packages and discounts and bonuses. So book your consultation call and let us know in the chat that you book your call because we will celebrate you and we will keep rooting you on. So our next speaker, we have Karen McNenny, who has just been on, I think, as well, over 30 podcasts. And she actually got, remember, if you're one of the first three to pay in full, I'm going to do an audit for you. She got that bonus. I actually just audited one of her podcasts, and it was such a joy to listen to. She's such an amazing guest, y'all. Like, she's an incredible guest. She shares amazing stories. I was like listening to her podcast while I'm on my walking pad in my office, and I had hardly had any critiques because I'm like, she's a divorce coach, the good divorce coach. And I'm not in a divorce, but I'm like, damn, I need her. That's how powerful it was. Not going to manifest that. But Karen, introduce yourself to our audience here and tell us about your experience podcast guesting.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. That's such a generous introduction. And hello, everyone. You are in good hands. I'm going to just take you through some stepping stones that I've had with Interview Connections. And I might get a little verklempt because it's been really meaningful. I started watching Jessica and Margie pre-COVID. So, I mean, maybe 8 years ago. Your business is how old now, Jessica?
12.
Yeah. So in the early years when you were just little baby business
Little chicken
women with
nugget.
this idea, yep. And then you talk about your um, your story of how it grew out of need and whatnot. And I always thought, oh, someday I'm going to work with him, but I don't have anything to say yet. I don't know what I want to broadcast. And sometimes that's how the universe shows up. It's just one stepping stone, one stepping stone. And it was the pandemic for me that created the all-powerful pause that many of us experienced. And I had been working as a business consultant for now 25 years. And people were inviting me, be on a podcast, write a leadership book. And I just like, that just doesn't feel like my core authentic reason that I'm here. And all the conferencing and retreats and business things that I was doing pre-COVID got really quiet. And during that quiet, I was able to turn my attention back to this subject that I'm really passionate about, which is how we do divorce in this country. As I sit here in America, and I'm a Montana girl in the Western Rockies, and I'm 15 years post-divorce. My husband and I, Michael, just took our kids from kindergarten to college, and exactly 6 days ago, we graduated our youngest. And we have been side by side for every important moment with those kids, every family photo. We're all there. We always say we take up the whole pew. We take up a whole row. It's the grandparents, it's the new partners. Um, and I'm really proud of our divorce. Not proud that our marriage came to divorce. Nobody plans that, but the way that we found our path. And I've had so many opinions about divorce for so long. And one of those lonely pandemic nights, I'm just Googling up. Someone was asking me to help guide in their divorce because they saw our family as a really great model. And cutting to the chase, I found out that divorce coaching it was a growing industry, a growing niche, but still really quiet. In fact, I was just presenting at a conference yesterday, and it's in my bio. And it was a conference for behavioral health professionals. They're like, divorce coaching, what's that? So I really had two jobs in terms of what I needed to amplify. I needed to amplify, here's my services, please work with me. But even before that, I needed to educate the public as to what it is that I do and why it matters. And that's really been the benefit. So as I came out of pandemic and I was hanging my shingle as a divorce coach, I was actually approached to start a podcast, a business podcast. And it was kind of that zeitgeist moment when I said, I don't want to do a podcast about leadership and workplace culture and employees. I love all that. It's important. But what I'd really like is to have a podcast about divorce. And can we call it the Good Divorce Show? Because nobody ever hears those two words together. And I want to have human people who've experienced divorce on the show and not the ones with the dumpster fire stories. We hear enough of that. All the negativity is what gets broadcast. And so as a culture, I think we've drunk the Kool-Aid of divorce is going to be detrimental and full of despair and a dumpster fire and lots of debt. And I'm like, no, there's at least one more option on the multiple choice. And so couples come on, individuals, adult children of divorce, to talk about what went well for them, how they did it. So we have an example of what it sounds and looks like. And then I have experts on the show. So as that was getting rolling, and it was about a year and a half into my own podcast, then, and I'm still over there keeping a tabs on interview connections, and something popped up and I'm like, I think I might be ready. And it's a significant investment, not for everybody, but it was for me as a single self-employed mom in Western Montana. I'm like, I need to find a way to leverage this, because when I'm in the hosting seat of my own podcast, it's about my guest. And they're talking about their programs and they're talking about what they do. But I wanted a microphone and a platform where I could talk about my passions and the work I'm doing and the services that I'm providing. So I needed to get my hiney in the guest seat. And I did not have enough extra bandwidth to go figure that out. And I hired an assistant. But But again, her focus and her time was one thing. And I always say, for all of us solo entrepreneurs, when we approach things, I think, well, I've got a hammer and nails and I can figure it out. But wouldn't it be nice to hire someone who has power tools and a blueprint? And that's exactly what Interview Connections has. They are power tools and a blueprint. And from the word go, they were on it. There has been, I just finished my, and I don't even know if it was a full year, Jessica, but I just finished my 30 um, interviews. And over the course of, we'll call it a year, uh, there's been a couple of occasions when I've had to say, oh, can you guys please tap the brakes? I'm a little overwhelmed. I've got too many interviews coming in right now. I'm hosting my own show. I've got clients that I'm trying to serve. I need a pause over the holidays. I need a pause as we come into spring. And they were always, of course, very accommodating to that. One of the things that I appreciate about the team is that it's not just one person who's finding me all of those points of contact with podcasts. I have my point person, but I have access to the whole team who's working for me. That's been my impression.
Yeah.
And so there's everyone out there cultivating. And I didn't even realize there were so many podcasts about divorce. But again, because I'm in that guest seat, what I find over and over again, those hosts, some of them lawyers, some of them mental health professionals, um, folks inside the divorce industry, outside of the divorce industry, more in self-help, I keep hearing like, oh my gosh, Karen, what you do is so unique. This is so different. What a paradigm shift. What I'm really trying to identify is divorce is not a weapon. It's a tool. And as a culture, we have to stop weaponizing it and provide education in this tool and give people another choice. So I'm able to amplify that all over. And yes, I have had clients, I have an intake sheet on my website, The Good Divorce Coach, and Work with Karen. And then I ask always, where did you hear about me? And it's not just a podcast. Sometimes I get that, but they name the podcast. And I can track all of those podcasts. And of those 30, I know directly 12 of those clients came from my work, not to mention those that I'm not tracking or those that haven't chosen to work with me yet, because they might be like many of us who've walked the divorce journey, kind of exploring, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna start packing my psychic parachute. I don't want to get divorced, right? We know this truth. So again, podcasting is evergreen. So there's great value in that messaging that's going to exist out there. But now for the finale. Are you ready for, that's already amazing and great. It's worked. But then last summer, I get an email out of the blue from a man named Andy Earl. Karen, I heard you on such and such podcast. You have a strong voice, great storytelling, really unique perspective. Have you ever thought of writing a book? Is this spam? Is this a real thing? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, for 15 years since I was leaning into my own divorce, I'm like, I have just so much to say about this topic. And maybe someday there will be a book that will come from it. So there was an invitation from an organization called Write It Great, who helps thought leaders like us put their thoughts between pages to get a book proposal together, which is a whole nother undertaking. But because I engaged with Interview Connections and they got me out on the speaking circuit of promotions or of podcasts, then this person who helps folks like us take the next step to being a published author found me. And I did hire that company. And last September, I started the process of writing a book proposal. And by November, I had a book proposal. And then they went out and shopped it. And I was waiting for, 2 years and 27 rejections, and you're going to have to rewrite, and you probably got to go write the book. A book proposal's not going to get, none of that happened. By January, I had an offer from a major publisher. And I don't even think I told you this, Jessica.
No, I have chills. I have literal chills right now.
So Wiley Publishing and their subprint Josie Bass has engaged with me. Really, it's all a domino. I can point it right back. I now have chills from a decade ago of watching this little baby company and these visionaries and Margie and Jessica saying, we want to help thought leaders have a platform. And so I have a book coming out May of 2026. Thank you. Which we think will be called The Good Enough Divorce: How Leaving My Marriage Saved My Family. And it's part memoir and it's part teaching. And so I'm on pause right now with Interview Connections because I'm going to, and I'm not doing any more interviews on my own podcast right now either. We've just got a bunch of stuff in the vault so that I can take some time this summer and into the fall to get that book pulled together. First draft by September, final draft by November, and book launch, which means that next year, as I am promoting that book, I will be right back in bed with Interview Connection because they will help provide the amplification to drive more traffic. And for me, and maybe this will speak to your heart as well, it's not just about I'm generating work and clients. I only have so much capacity and I limit my caseload because I talk with my clients every single week. It's really important as they're going through this journey that they have constant support and connection. But just as importantly, it's my advocacy part. It's about systemic change in the divorce space. So it's not just about driving traffic for me to have more clients. It's really about amplifying a message that I think as a community we're hungry for, whether you're before, during, or after your own divorce. So there's my story and my big fat monologue about what this journey has been for me. So thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Margie, Julio, all the team that has been supporting me this last year.
Oh my gosh. Like, you guys, I'm not tearing up. It's just allergies. Just kidding. I'm tearing up. That's amazing. That's okay. There's like so much about that story that I'm taking in. So first, I just a funny anecdote because I think the universe has really good sense of humor. So you said the good enough. So you maybe found us in 2017. So in 2017, Margie and I, she was the first employee, and we were, I guess, divorcing our contractors because we had moved from a 1099 contract model where we had all 1099 team members and hiring full-time employees. And it was the most difficult transition. It was probably the most difficult year of business. And our motto that year was good enough 2017 because it
Yeah.
was so challenging. It was so hard that we just got through it by saying it's good enough 2017. So when you said good enough, I go right back to probably the year that you found us. That's
Oh,
so
wow.
funny. But I love that story. And I love as well how you really manifested this smooth book publishing process. Just like it mirrors how you help people with divorce. Like everyone says, oh, it's going to be multiple years. And you were just like, no, that's not how it's going to be for me. And it wasn't. And that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing.
You Google the good divorce. I see some notes like the good divorce coach, the good divorce show. You just put
Yeah.
those two words together. Karen McNinney's probably gonna to come up for you. And I hope none of you need my services, and I hope you don't have to refer anyone to my services. However, and whether it's me or someone else that is out there coaching and mediating, please, by all means, provide the kind of support and a pathway that doesn't start with an attorney. I always say divorce exists to make things better, not worse. Why would we go spend thousands of dollars and lots of time to just make it worse? If you want it bad, stay in your bad marriage. It'll get worse. If you want it really bad, hire two litigating lawyers and they will be happy to keep you on their payroll and create a lot of battles where there weren't before. So there is a kinder, gentler path through this process. And again, thank you for providing a platform for me to share my passion work and what I hope will be my legacy work before I retire out of all this nonsense.
Oh my goodness. And even like I said, even if you don't need a divorce coach, I would highly recommend listening to one of Karen's podcasts just as an example of a really great interviewee. On session 2, we did a podcast guest media training and we talked about storytelling and tone of voice. Like you really nail it. So I would love for everyone to maybe we could get after you are finished speaking here, Karen, maybe grab a link and put it in the chat to the podcast that you sent me or any of your podcasts, because I think it's very helpful to listen to how other people, especially other people who are in different businesses or different industries, just she's a great example of a really great guest. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Karen. Wow, I need a minute to process the feelings around that story. That was absolutely incredible. So okay, we have another amazing speaker. Do we have Susan here? Douglas, is Susan here? Okay, great. We'll get her up here.
Yeah, I'm here. Me,
Hi,
Susan Taylor. Hi,
Susan
yeah.
Taylor.
Thank you so much, Douglas, for sending me the link. I had the. Oh shoot! Wait a minute. Where'd y'all go?
No, you're good. You're good. We're here. You're here. No, that was me, Susan. I put the wrong link in
Okay.
the calendar event for you. That was my bad. That's why we were 3 minutes late to the Zoom call. I'm so sorry, but you're here now.
Hey, awesome.
So I'm so happy to have you here. I would love for you to tell everyone who you are,
Sure.
what got you here and what's it been like.
Yeah, and excuse me, I'm getting over respiratory things still, so I might have to cough for a minute. But yeah, so I am a sex therapist for couples, and I specialize in helping couples get back on the same page in sex and intimacy so that intimacy can be more fun, easy, and mutually fulfilling for both of them. And my specialty is in helping couples overcome mismatched libido. So I got here late, but I saw a comment, how do you help couples stay married? I work with couples in long-term committed relationships, and I believe that what I do does help save marriages because sex is one of the areas that sex and money are the two areas that really can blow up a relationship. So that is what I do. I'm also the host of my own podcast series called the Sex Talk Cafe, which I've had since 2019. And I love podcasting and why so enjoyed my time with Interview Connections. I don't want it to come to an end. But yes, I love podcasting because I know that I'm really good on the one to many. Like one-on-one is really like where I shine. And I love podcasting because it can really feature that one-on-one setting, but yet you're reaching potentially hundreds or thousands of listeners and a big audience. So it's been a really great strategy for me for growing my business, growing my network, and just getting my name out there and getting more brand awareness, like what you were talking about yesterday, Jessica.
I love it. And tell us about what has been the client experience? I know you've been so happy working with us. A lot of folks, when they're thinking about making an investment in a done for you service, especially if they just maybe met us through this masterclass, they're like, there's all types of feelings. I'm excited, but like, what is this? And so that's why we are so happy to have you and our other
Yeah.
clients here to share. But what's it been like working with our team?
Oh, you guys are great. I mean, you have the personal touch, which I think is so important because I have taught before I signed on with you guys, I had talked to other companies out there, and there's a lot of PR firms that were reaching out to me, and it just, this was just the right fit, and you guys have such a great personal touch, and I was so impressed. I mean, you definitely deliver. And you really do take us into consideration, like what our needs are. And there was a podcast that came through that just I didn't feel a resonance with for a number of reasons I won't get into. And you guys are really good about just sort of honoring that and, really, really taking care of us. And I was so amazed too at how quickly it happened. I thought like I signed on with you guys, and literally that week I got bookings. I thought I was thinking it was going to be a little while, but like right out of the gate, I got bookings. And I think from that, part of what I was hoping too was to increase my business and visibility. I do couples retreats called the Pleasure Keys. So I created a process called the Pleasure Keys. And I do these immersions, these 3-day immersions for couples. So I was hoping to get more visibility on that. And so the strategy has proven itself because I did just get my first client sign on to one of my upcoming immersions from a podcast that they heard me on. So that was just really neat. And I have actually an intake call today in a couple of hours with someone who heard me on a podcast, not sure which one yet. So yeah, it's just been really awesome working with you guys. Yeah, I think you've done a great job and you have the personal touch. I've always felt like I could reach out to somebody. And even like today, I had the wrong link and I like messaged you on Facebook, and thank you so much, Douglas, for like responding because I would have hated to have missed this. So I just feel like you have a really good support network and you really take care of your people. And I am so happy that I've been able to have this experience.
I'm so happy to hear that. So one question we had earlier that I'm sure was basically answered, but how long did it take? Because a lot of people ask like like how long does it take to see an ROI? So you signed up with us, I think in like November, maybe?
Yeah, the end of November. Yeah, we were thinking it's going to be slow because of the holidays. No, it wasn't so. Well, and I think, Jessica, what you speak to on this is so important. And I think we really have to look at this as it's a long-term growth strategy. And the value I have gotten just from making these connections, I've been invited to events that I never knew about. I've been invited back on some of the podcasts. I've gotten visibility. And yes, I've had clients come to me, but it's hard, I think, at least for me right now, to really put a dollar amount on the ROI because I don't always know, what are these things turning into also. So I think it's really good that I think you set us up for success with sort of reminding us that it's not like, yes, I would love to just fill my funnel instantly from podcasting, but I think the strategy is better to look at it in terms of the long term and the connections that we're making. I love the class that you did on repurposing content. I don't remember who taught that, if it was you or another one of your team members. That was so awesome because actually what I just did, now that my interviews are sort of slowing down, which like it was crazy there for a minute, I'm taking some of the content from that, like the transcript, for example, and I plugged it into AI and was like, create an article out of this. And then I go back in and I edit it, of course, and like, make it in my voice or just kind of, so it sounds like an article, but like, and that was really fun. Like, well, this is awesome. Like, there's so many other ways I think to repurpose the content. I'm also working on getting more active on Pinterest and creating, graphics that have the title and then link over to the episode on my website or on the host website so that I'm getting like really reusing that. So it's not like a one and done kind of thing. And I think there's a lot you have to keep in mind of how else can you use that content in a way that it can continue to get exposure and get eyes on it for yourself as well as the host of the podcast, which they love. And then, over time, it's a lot of different avenues. And I think we have to have that perspective on this. So that's been the main way, I guess, for me of how to look at this and not just looking at the bottom line of how many clients did I get from that podcast.
Yeah, I love that because of course that's top of mind when someone's making a financial investment, making a high ticket investment is how many clients, how soon am I going to get clients? But I love what you are all talking about here today. And what I try to talk about as much as possible is there's so much intangible growth. There's so much nuance to how this is going to grow your business from the networking, the investments that you make. I mean, I think all three of you have talked about, potential or actually making investments in services that found you through being a guest on podcast, because growing our business isn't just money coming in, but it's also investing money going out to the right things that are going to help you grow. Money has to flow, right? It's going to come in, but it's got to go out for it to come back in. We can't just be like, I need sales and then be frozen. Like there has to be a flow to it. So I love that you're speaking to that. Douglas, Susan muted herself accidentally. So if you can unmute her. Can you speak
Thanks.
to any potential fears or hesitations that you had when you were thinking about signing up with us and how you overcame them?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing, it was a big commitment financially. And I was really grateful that I had, my partner was really supportive in helping me be able to say yes to this. And so I think for me, it was the fear of failing. Like, I know that I can speak. And like, once I'm there, like, I wasn't really afraid of that. Like, I know my content. I feel like I'm pretty good on camera. Like, I can do that part. But I think it was the fear of failing, of like, what if this doesn't work? And this is a big investment that I'm making. And what if I don't get the ROI on that? What if it doesn't turn into the ROI that I'm wanting or expecting or needing? And so that was a really big deal, the mindset piece. And I remember Douglas really helpful because Douglas was like, okay, you got to get that part like aligned because how you start like influences how you move forward. And so I remember I think I'll use self-talk. And I also recognize like the fear can be flipped into excitement, like pretty easily. And so I was able to just like sort of acknowledge that, okay, I'm kind of scared. This is a big deal. But then to try to feed into more of the excitement. And that, I mean, it really it's opened up so many things. I've had so many opportunities just show up that I don't think I would have otherwise had, just even by posting stuff on social media and people seeing me doing, this podcast up and that, and I'm having so much fun, and screenshotting like before you get on the interview, like that kind of stuff, and getting the exposure. So it very quickly turned into that because things move so quickly. I started getting bookings so fast. So
Yeah.
it was excitement. Fear turned to excitement. And self-talk was what I used for myself.
I love that. Yeah, that I actually mentioned that kind of just off the cuff in this masterclass, how the feeling of being nervous and excited there's similar bodily experiences, like the butterflies in our stomach, like it kind of feels the same. So I love that mindset shift that if you're kind of nervous or fearful about it not working, like maybe that's actually kind of hidden excitement and the brain is just kind of trying to keep us where we are, where we're familiar. But I mean, just we bring on these success stories for everyone watching so that you can see, everyone here who's been working with us and gotten on lots of podcasts and seen their business grow was where you were at one point, kind of nervous, kind of scared, kind of thinking about this, or maybe you're not nervous and scared and you're like, no, I'm ready to go, like book your call. But yeah, I love it. I love it. Susan, where can everyone, we've got some folks asking, how can I connect with Susan? I'd love to connect with her. Can you share your website and how you'd like everyone to reach out to you if they're interested in talking to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of my offerings live on pathwaytopleasure.com. That is my website. And my free resource, if you want to learn how to deepen connection, enhance intimacy, and have mutually fulfilling, pleasurable experiences with your intimate other, you can get my ebook, The Pleasure Keys, at pleasurekeys.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, we've got one more speaker and then you can do rapid fire questions like we did yesterday in session 3. So if you've got questions, definitely put them in the chat. Dr. Karen asked, what does getting booking mean, private clients? So when I say bookings, when a lot of us say bookings, it's actually getting on the podcast. So when we get you booked on a podcast, that means you're being, secured a speaking opportunity on that podcast. You're going to be interviewed on that podcast. And then from that podcast, we want to see you actually get clients and land clients and grow your business. So next, and book your call, interviewconnections.com/call. If you're really relating to the speakers here and you are ready to get booked, you're ready to get on podcasts and increase your visibility and really say yes to expanding your world, like expanding your business world. Maybe you've really grown by word of mouth and referral, and you know that there's more out there for you. And maybe you can't quite see that, but if you're getting on the right podcast and you're speaking to the right podcast host, those worlds will open up. We have the key to get you on those shows. We have over 30,000 podcasts that we've booked clients on. We already have existing relationships with so many shows that would likely be a really great fit for you. So schedule your consultation call at interviewconnections.com/call because we have discounts and bonuses available through Monday at midnight. So Paul, I would love for you to share. Paul's been working with us for a couple of months now, and share with us what your business is, introduce yourself, and what has the experience been like working with us and getting on podcasts?
Well, I've been booked on several, a lot more quickly than I expected. I didn't know that it would happen that quickly. And actually, I just had a call with a doctor who reached out to me. I haven't even been on any medical podcasts through my website, which I updated per your instructions. And he said he found me on some video, and I'm thinking it might have been one of the podcasts, but he couldn't remember which one. So I'll have to report back to you on that. But the experience has been good. I had a one sheet before, but I think it was properly updated. It forced me to rethink my website. And if there's going to be more eyes on my site, I need to think about what message my website is giving off and how easy it is to get in touch with me. I mean, that sounds basic, but so many people have a website that really isn't conducive to the right messaging. And I think it really forced me to hone in on what the right messaging was for my website. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate all the calls and the ability to meet the other Interview Connections clients and the ability to just get practice and being interviewed, because my service and what I do, I'm a forensic 401k consultant, and that's a very unique service in that I focus on uncovering what I describe as the excessive and unnecessary fees, conflicts of interest, and sometimes even outright fraud in the 401k plan industry. It's not easy getting my voice out and my message out to a mass audience. And there's many people I wanted to know about me, but probably just didn't know who I was. And I really believe that podcasting is the best way to do it, especially because of the video content that you'll get. And the cost of doing videos, if you were to try to pay for videos separately, I think would probably be a lot more expensive. Not to mention you're getting exposure to all these different audiences. And again, not the biggest podcasts those aren't necessarily the best ones, but sometimes niche podcasts that have really dedicated, engaged listeners that might be more conducive to being really interested in your services. Because even though it's not it's not a huge number of people that are listening, but it's people who are deeply interested in the content. And I think that's something to really keep in mind. So anyway,
Yeah.
hope that wasn't
I
too.
That was perfect, Paul. And I'll just kind of emphasize what Paul was talking about with the website, because when you work with us, when you join our program, we're getting you on podcasts. It's done for you service. And you're getting access to really excellent trainings and coaching and support. So we have this bonus training. One of the stories that Margie shared in session 1, I believe, is that I was interviewed on a podcast. This guy's name is Jeffro, the Digital Dominance Podcast. And in the green room chat, this is how this all connects together. It's just one big domino of like podcast guesting magic. So I'm on this podcast as a guest, and in the green room chat, I'm asking the host, Jeffro, like, tell me about your business. What do you do? And he goes, I help build high converting websites for thought leaders. I'm like, well, that's perfect, because I have a lot of clients who are thought leaders who want high converting websites. And I said, would you want to do a private training for Interview Connections clients? And he's like, yeah, that sounds great. And so he came in and did a live website audit call. So Paul and several other Interview Connections clients, I think Susan was there too, came and showed their website. And then Jeffro did this rapid fire like website audit where he gave them direct feedback on messaging and where the buttons are on the website in ways that helped them increase their conversion, so that when people land on your website, they actually convert. And so Paul and I continue that conversation. I say, let's get your book a call link right at the top of the fold in the middle where the eyes are going. So when you work with us, you're signing up and investing and getting booked, but you're getting like website training and marketing and messaging. There's so many other things, because if you're going to be successful on podcasts, you have to have a website that converts. So we're not going to let you go out there with a website that's not converting. Like, we're going to guide you to the right training and the right resources to help you be successful. So I don't know, Paul, if there anything else you want to add there about that?
Well, it sounds like it helped if someone reached out to me and was book a call with me. And yeah, just to reiterate, I don't necessarily view my website the way others do. Sometimes you get caught in the details, but when someone not familiar with it gives you a critique and says, hey, it might be easier if you set it up this way, I accept it, because I don't always think of how someone else is going to view my website.
Yeah. And Paul also has a topic and an area of expertise that's it's very niche, forensic accountant, 401k, like it's a little bit, it's for a very specific audience. And our team has really been able to comprehend that and find these specific shows. I think you were just sharing with me recently how we've gotten you on some shows speaking to attorneys. That was a market you wanted to get in front of that hadn't thought to tell us, but we already picked up on that. So is there anything else you want to add about the types of podcasts that our team has found for you?
Yes, it's been a wide variety. One was actually a pretty big one. I'm not against large podcasts that's had some really prominent guests, some of which I'm familiar with and have watched some of their videos. Some are for entrepreneurs, one of which was for practices, managing partners of law firms, because there's a lot of topics like mine that are conducive to law firms. So that's been very helpful. And I also want to add that just to be a good guest, and that's a good way to instill the mindset of what can I do to be a good guest, not just promoting the podcast before and after, but something else I want to add is thinking about other guests that they might want to have, because I have a large network, and that helps me build my network by potentially introducing, and I've already done that once, to some of the people I know, to podcast hosts that could be really effective guests on their shows.
I love that. That's such a great tip and a great idea, because when that host interviews that guest, they're going to remember you. And so that's a great way to build your network and really deepen your relationship, nurture your relationship with the host. So everyone write that down in your workbook. Yep. That's such a great tip.
I'll add one other quick thing.
Yes.
I'm going to be going to Miami in a few months. One of the podcast hosts has a podcast. She's in Miami. And I'm hosting a dinner for entrepreneurs, because I host events in my spare time. This woman is an entrepreneur, interviews entrepreneurs, and this will be a great way to help her build her audience and her list of guests, as well as help me build my network.
That's incredible. That is amazing. I love that. So where can everyone find you, Paul, if they're interested in following along your podcast guesting journey or reaching out to learn more about your services?
Just my name, paulsippel.com, SIPPIL. Someone got confused because there's a Paul, SIPPEL.com, and someone complimented me on my photo on the website. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. We look, and it was actually somebody else. So SIPPIL.com. Paul.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. All right. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat. I'm going to go through what is included when you work with us at Interview Connections. Again, we have multiple packages available now, so you can start with a variety. You go all in with 48 bookings or 30, or even start with 15 if you want to. And it is a better value the more bookings that you invest in. So when you work with us, we're going to go through an onboarding process. You heard, Monica and Susan kind of touch on how fast it actually, and Paul, we really go through that quite efficiently. We're going to make your podcast one sheet, really get clear on your topics and questions on your one sheet, make your media kit, go through your criteria so that you're on the right types of podcasts. I cannot emphasize that enough because that's a common question. What are the types of podcasts? They're going to be a really good fit for you. They're going to be speaking to your target audience. So we're going to lay the groundwork in month 1, and then we're going to start pitching and booking you in month 2. After every 10 bookings, you're going to get an interview audit. So your point of contact on the booking team will reach out, get a call booked with you, give you personalized feedback and coaching on one of your interviews, and check in on the strategy at that point. We want you to get some interviews under your belt, get some experience, and then coach you to make sure you're doing everything that you could be doing to nurture your relationship with the host, to repurpose the podcast, to make the most of the strategy. And again, we do that every 10 bookings. You will also have access to our training videos. We mentioned the website audit training video. We've got coaching calls. We have a whole school community that you get access to as a client. And if you sign up during the masterclass, we're going to send you a microphone and a ring light as a bonus. So you'll get the equipment that you need. And if you pay in full at any of the 3 levels, we will write the one sheet for you. And the first 3 people to pay in full will get a bonus interview audit by me. Okay, so you'll get a ton of personalized feedback and attention to help you be successful. So your step now is to book your consultation call. You can go to interviewconnections.com/call. We have the link below the video and in the chat if you're here live. Let me know if you have booked your call. I want to celebrate everyone who has had their call. I had a great conversation with Rebecca yesterday. So excited about what she's up to. I know Julie has had a call. Karen has had a call. Let me know if you have already had a call or if you have booked your call. Susan says, totally worth it. Do it, Get off the fence, make the decision, turn that nervous fear into excitement because you have a story to share. You have a service that really impacts people's lives, impacts people's businesses. And the only way for them to find you is if you put yourself in spaces where they are already hanging out and they are listening to podcasts. People are listening to podcasts to learn, to seek out the type of information and knowledge and inspiration that you have. And we have got the keys to the castle. We have got the access to these podcasts and we want to get you booked. So go to interviewconnections.com/call to schedule your consultation call. The replays will be available until Monday at midnight. So if you need to rewatch any of the sessions, make sure you go to interviewconnections.com/replays to catch up on any of the sessions. Thank you for everyone for watching. If you have been here live at all this week, maybe every day, or you caught it live here today, thank you. I love seeing you all here live. And I cannot wait to talk with you. Maggie says, I'm ready. Yes, Maggie, book your consultation call if you haven't already at interviewconnections.com/call. We have times available today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So schedule your consultation call and we can't wait to talk with you. Thank you all so much for being here and we'll talk to you soon. Can't wait for you to be speaking on our next masterclass as our success story. Yay, Dr. Shrees, book your call. Woo! All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.